Welcome to the part 3 of the course. In this, we will understand what are the functions, technique to pass the variables in function, function overloading, array, and at last we will learn about the pointers. Before we begin, I will share you the answer for the previous assignment. I am not going to explain the program, but if you have doubts, you can surely comment me on the video. This program is for Fibonacci series, this is for factorial of a number, and this is for prime number in a range 1 to n. Now let's begin. What are the functions? To make larger programs manageable, what the programmer does is that they modularize them into the subprograms or small modules, and this is called as a function. Function are intended to do a particular task only. Let's see the syntax of the function first. Return type, function name, in parenthesis list of parameters, then body of the function and return statement. Return type. Return type function may return a value. The return type is the data type of the value the function returns. Function name. This is the actual name of the function. Parameters. When a function is invoked, you pass a value to the parameter. This value is referred to as actual parameter or argument. The parameter list refers to the type, order, and number of the parameter of a function and the code of the block. The function body contains a collection of statements that define what the function does. To make this concept more clear, I will show you a program which finds the area of circle using the concept of function. For that, first we have to write the function definition. Double is my return type, area is my function name, double R is the parameters. I will comment here that it's function definition. Double A, area is 3.14 into R, and I will return A. Then main function, that's integer main, in that double R comma A, prompt the user to enter the radius, accept the value of radius, then A is equals to area R. This is our function call, and then display the area. And then I will return 0 here. Now let's try to run the program. Enter the radius, let's say 10, so area is 314. I hope the concept of function is clear to you. Next, we will see the techniques used to pass the variables in the C++ functions. First technique is pass by value or call by value method, which copies the actual value of an argument into the former parameter of the function. Let's see a program to better understand this. Void, that's a return type. Pass by value is my function name. Integer is the list parameter. In main function, I will write integer I equals 4. Then I will call the function and I will print the value. Below it, I will write the definition. Void pass by value, integer I, and here I will increment it. So, can you guess what will be the output? 4 or 5? Let's see the output. Output is 4. Yes, output is 4. Since variable I was passed by value, the local copy in the function gets incremented, whereas the copy in the main function remains the same, and therefore we get the output as 4. I hope you understood this. Before we begin with our next technique, that is passing by a reference using a pointer or call by a pointer, I need to show you what is a pointer. For that, let's have a look at this example. A pointer is simply the address of a memory location, and that provides the indirect way of accessing the data in a memory. I have created a function pointer here. Initialize the variable a with 100. This is the pointer with type integer. The symbol is called as an ampersand. It is the address operator. It takes a variable as an argument and returns the memory address of that variable. Let's check the output of a program. So the value of the PTR is it's the address block. This is pointing to that address block, and therefore we get the value 100. And this is the value of the variable which we initialized. I hope you understood the concept of a pointer. Now we will see passing by a reference with a pointer or call by a pointer. This method copies the address of an argument into the formal parameter. Inside the function, the address is used to access the actual argument using the call, and this implies that the parameter affects the argument. Let's see an example. Here I have written a function with return type void, and the name of the function is passed by pointer. This is the argument. I have initialized variable I with 8. This sets the pointer to the address of I, call to the function, and output I. Function definition, and the value of I is incremented. So what will be the output of this program? Whether will it be 8 or 9? Output will be 9. Why? Since I was passed by a reference, the function received a pointer to the variable. By properly dereferencing it, I was incremented to 9. Let's check the output. Answer is 9. The last technique which we are having is passing by reference using a reference or call by reference, which copies the reference of an argument into the formal parameter. Inside the function, the reference is used to access the actual argument using the call, and that implies the changes made to the parameter affects the argument. Let's see an example. I will create a function with return type void. Name of the function is passed by ref integer ampersand. I will write the main function integer I equals 8, integer ampersand n equals I. What it does is that it reference to I, then I will call the function pass by ref, and here I will write n as argument, cout I, and then void pass by ref integer ampersand I. And here I will increment the I value as equals to I plus 1. So what do you think? What will be the output? Whether will it be 8 or 9? The answer is 9. Since variable I was passed by reference, the variable in calling routine is modified. By default parameter is called passed by value, but reference parameter allows the function to alter the value of variable passed to it. Therefore our answer is 9. Let's check the answer by executing the program. Yes, our answer is 9. Now we will learn what is function overloading. Two or more function may have the same name with different parameters, and this is nothing but the function overloading. Let's see an example. I will write a function with return type void. Its name is print and data type is integer. I will see out I. Again, I will have the same function, but this time I will change the data type to double, and this time I will change this to character. Now I will write the main function print 20, print 20.5, and print string 20. Let's check the output. 20, 20.5, and 20. It should be more clear if we write handle, twenty, 20.5, and 20. So that's how the function overloading works. Now we will learn about array. Here we will be having a short introduction to array, and this is the last concept of the part 3. An array is a set of objects which are of same data type and arranged contiguously in memory. Each element is identified by an index, and the index starts from 0. The number of elements in array is called its dimension. Now let's check a program. Integer n, comma num. This is an array of size n. We can also do directly like num of size 50, but here I will do num of size n. Then I will prompt the user to enter how many elements do you want in array, and accept the value of n. Then I will prompt the user to enter those elements, enter the n elements. Then using for loop, I will accept the value for integer I equals 0, I smaller than equal to n, I plus plus. See in a of I. Now to print the array, I have to again use the for loop. J equals 0, j smaller than equal to n, j plus plus. Here this is num of I. See out num of j. Now let's see our output. Enter how many elements do you want in array? 5 elements. Okay, there is issue. It should be smaller than n, not equals. That's why here it's accessing one more element. Let's run the program again. I want 5 elements, and yes, we are getting it. So that was the short introduction to array. There's a lot more in array, like various operation like searching, insertion, deletion, sorting, merging, and this was the traversing operation which we just saw now. Traversing means accessing each and every element at least once in an array. So that's all in the part 3, and for this array concept I will definitely make another video later. Next, in the part 4, we will be studying about all the object-oriented programming features in the C++ language. So see you there.